Good afternoon. If you're here for the How to Build an Empowered, Engaged and Enthusiastic Team, you're in the right place. And we're going to get started in a moment. We'll just give a few moments for anyone who's a little bit late to show up, and then we'll make a start. It's going to be a really amazing webinar, this. I'm really excited. There's lots of really good stuff to share, so it's going to be great. So we'll just give a few moments. Okay, so let's make a start. So this story kind of begins when I was working in the corporate world way back in the 90s, I think it would have been. And I was managing a team there, a lot of people, fantastic time we had as well. And we worked really hard to win a big piece of business. It was the company was Ericsson, and we won a big piece of business from British Telecom. Only to find after we'd won it that the company said they couldn't deliver it. So I kind of made a decision at that point, hey, I'm going to deliver it all myself. So when I set up my own business, it was just me, and I worked by myself for quite a long time. But then I kind of realized that I missed being around people. I love working with people, and that I needed a team to build the business as well. So the result of that decision, you can see in front of you, this was the digital freelance team. I'll go a little bit more in detail into who's who in a moment. You could probably recognize the old one in the middle with the lack of hair and the wrinkles under the eyebrows. That's me. But the thing that I've along the way, I learned a lot of useful skills and useful kind of philosophies, I suppose you could call them. And I also realized that like empowering people and personal development has always been really important to me, even from back when I was like 15. And I said to my mum when she said she was going for a job at the coroner's office in Doncaster, go for it. And so she did. And so she put that down to me. I don't remember anything about it at all, if I'm honest. That's what my mum told me. So I have been kind of mentoring for quite a long time. And I kind of learned a lot that I want to share in this webinar today. This is a little bit different to the ones that we normally do, because we're kind of opening the curtain to reveal how we do things within digital freelance. So it's slightly different, but it's going to be really good, I'm sure. I'm really looking forward to it. And yeah, we've got some great stuff to share. So a little bit more about the business, a little bit more about the team, and then we'll progress. So we're digital freelance. We specialize in small business marketing with guaranteed results. And we started on the 1st of March 2016 in our office in Brighton, which has continued to evolve and develop as we've gone along. So in June 2016, Connie, who's on the left there, came into the office. She was studying at the University of Sussex at the time. She started doing an internship, and she stayed with us for 4.5 years, I think. And then she did a master's, and she's now gone off to find her fame and fortune in the big city. So a job done there. She thanked me when she left for the mentoring and for the support that I'd given her, and I thanked her similarly. So it's all about being a team and collaborating and working together. It's not about one person. We can all learn from each other. Maybe that's the best way of putting it. In June 2018, 2 years later, Ruben joined us. He's on the right there, and he was a digital marketing apprentice. He's really good on the tech side. And on the execution strategy side, which is brilliant. And I hope that he learned a lot from being with digital freelance. In fact, he learned so much, he's going traveling at the end of September in Southeast Asia. He is on the call. I'm going to introduce him in a moment. But lest you think that I'm going to be left all by myself in the office, we have Zach, who's a new member of our team. He started, he's in his second week now, and he'll be stepping into Ruben's big shoes. for the next webinar. So this is the 22nd one we've done. So we've learned a lot during that process. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Ruben, who's going to explain what he's doing on the webinar, what his role is in the webinar, not what he's doing on the webinar, and we'll go from there. So
cool, thanks. Sorry about that. Thanks, Graham. Hi, everyone. I hope you're having a good day so far. Today, during the webinar, I'll just be monitoring the chat. So if you have any questions, feel free to put them in there. I'll try to answer them, but if I can't, then we'll circle back to them at the Q&A session at the end. And if at any point you decide that you want the slides from the webinar to be sent to you after, just put slides, please, in the chat, and I'll make sure you get those.
Brilliant. Thanks, Ruben. So where are you off traveling to?
Like you said, Southeast Asia, so Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines, all that area. Just exploring that entire area, to be honest. Brilliant,
brilliant. And will you be doing updates on Instagram?
Yeah, definitely. So feel free to follow me on there.
Brilliant. Awesome. Okay, so without further ado, let me get the slides working. And say you're very, very welcome. We're very pleased that you could join us. And so I think I've talked enough about us and what we do. So it's, one click, it's over to you. So if you could just, I should have said that you're muted at the moment. There will be an opportunity to unmute the microphones and have a chat and do some Q&A after I've done the presentation, which will probably take 25 minutes, half an hour, something like that. So there's plenty of time to ask questions, get into a conversation. But before we do that, you'll be able to type away. So if you could just tell us a little bit about who you are, what do you do, and what you want to learn from the webinar, that will help me to orient the presentation towards what you want to learn. So feel free to type away now, and Ruben will read out so that I can welcome you, and then we'll go from there. I should have said as well that if you want to receive a copy of the slides, just put slides, please, into the chat, and we'll send the slides at the end of the presentation.
Cool. Yeah, so Wendy's here. She says she's a graphic designer who has a t-shirt shop on Etsy, which is WA Funky Designs, and she's looking to get more freelance work.
Brilliant. You're very welcome, Wendy. Full disclosure, Wendy's also my partner, so I'll just say that in the interest of full disclosure.
And Yewande says hi, and she'd like to know more of the topic, and she'd also like the slides. So yeah, I'll make sure you get those at the end of the webinar.
Oh, brilliant. Hi, Yewande. I hope you're doing well. I hope I pronounced your name correctly as well. And let's give a couple more seconds, see if anyone else wants to. There we go.
Yeah, Zach Moore is here. He's startup CTO, running teams in studio mode rather than boring agile, and he's looking for musical metaphors to help people create.
Oh, hi, Zach. Brilliant. Yeah, I'm also a DJ, so hopefully I'll try and sprinkle a few musical metaphors in there as we go along. Okay, brilliant. So without further ado, let's get into the presentation. You're all very welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. So the first dilemma that I had is Mentor or Athena. I'll explain a little bit more about that. When I first discovered mentoring, which I think must be a long time ago, maybe 15 years ago or more, I read a post online which described Odysseus going off on his Odyssey to the Trojan War and leaving leaving his household and his son Telemachus in the capable hands of Mentor, who was going to look after Telemachus. And the story was that Mentor took care of Telemachus's inner development in his inner world, while his father Odysseus took care of his outer development in the outer world in the Trojan War. But recently, I did a little bit more research into this, and I found that what actually happened was that Mentor didn't really make a very good job of taking care of Odysseus's household. So his wife had lots of suitors, and Telemachus was not really taken care of either. And so Athena, who's the goddess of wisdom in Greek mythology, stepped in and appeared to Telemachus in the form of mentor and shared her wisdom with him. So I've since evolved my model a little bit to think not just people who have a lot of experience, but who also have turned that experience into wisdom. So we're going to explore the proposition that wise mentoring, not just any old mentoring, but wise mentoring, can be good for your team, your clients, and your business. Excuse me. And I'm sure that it can as well. So I'm recommending both Mentor, who advised and guided Telemachus, and also Athena, who added in a sprinkle of wisdom, would be a good combination. If you have neither of those, then you probably have something that's not really interested in developing the person, which is certainly not the thing that I would advocate. I would always advocate personal development and learning and growth. So there we go. That's what we're going to go into. So we've got a little bit of a delay on the clicks, so I'll make sure I don't click too fast. So these are the topics we're going to cover in the next 20 minutes, half an hour or so. So the first one is recognizing hidden potential within your team. I remember when I worked at Ericsson, Niels Grimsmo, who's a very wise Norwegian guy who was my mentor, really, although I didn't necessarily know or appreciate that at the time. I remember him saying to me that people who worked at Ericsson left their brains in the car park. I know that's kind of a strange analogy, but what he meant was that they have lots of hidden skills and hidden talents that they don't make use of when they go to work. I prefer to have the opposite, which is to have people use their full potential when they're at work and in other areas of their life as well. So I mentioned earlier, my hidden potential is in DJing. So at the moment I'm combining DJing with running the business. So we're running live streams on LinkedIn every Friday, where I just DJ and play music, which is possibly my hidden potential. There are, I've over the years, I've also discovered hidden potential in lots of other team members. And I should have said that the mentoring was different contexts for mentoring. So one of them, which is the main focus of this webinar, is mentoring your team or people who you're collaborating with to deliver a result. There's also mentoring others. So I've been a little bit of a mentor for my nephews at various times. I've also mentored other people who are working for completely different businesses. And there's also more of an objective mentor, which is someone who has particular wisdom in an area that you want to learn about, but you don't actually have any direct experience of that in your world, if that makes sense. All of those are methods of discovering hidden potential. I'm going to mainly focus on mentoring your team in this particular webinar. There will be others to follow that will cover other topics. Second thing is to create learning opportunities, and that's really, really important, is that you help your team to grow and develop by designing experiences and challenges that enable them to grow, and also particularly to contribute. We view all of our projects with clients as collaborations where we work together as a team to get the result. I think I mentioned that earlier, so I'm going to talk about that in depth. Encouragement is really, really important. Positive affirmation and encouragement. Empower your team to take risks is really obvious, but not a lot of people don't do it. Make mistakes and learn. That's the best way to grow and develop as a human being, in my humble opinion. And also ask questions. So rather than telling people what to do, you ask questions to guide them to think on a system level, or to think the way that you tend to think. And finally, which is kind of an optional piece, but I think it's quite nice, is to record what you learn in blogs, videos, and webinars. What we're doing now is an example of this very phenomenon, which is a recording of what we've learned. Clients in general, and people in general, love to look behind the scenes and see how other businesses actually operate. And so you can judge. You can be the judge of whether this is a good example of that. I hope it's going to be. So step one, recognize hidden potential within your team. I think one of the key skills of a mentor is to be a good observer, to be good at observing and listening, taking information, to discover what people are naturally good at. Sometimes if you use the Johari window as a model, sometimes maybe other pronunciations are available. That's what I call it, the Johari window. You can see there are some things that the person will know about themselves. There are some things that other people will know about the person that they don't know about themselves. If you can recognize those skills and see what people are naturally good at, then you can encourage them, recognize their contribution and create challenges to build on those skills. And also potentially identify extra skills or resources that they need that they don't have. We use a lot of online training programs to particularly train in skills, but there are also attitudes and beliefs and values which are best trained by example. I'm going to come on to that in a moment. Giving positive feedback is also really important. Just saying thank you. One of my guiding philosophies in business is the golden rule: do unto others as you would have others do unto you. And I love being recognised, and I love getting positive feedback. So if I love it, why wouldn't I do it to give it to other people? So that's basically my philosophy on life and on business as well. One of the keys as well, which I must admit it took me a long time to learn. I'm from Yorkshire, so obviously I was born knowing everything. But as I've got older, I've realised that I know less and less and less. So certainly confessing that you don't know everything is really important in order to learn new things. And recognise that you can learn things from your team, or you can learn things from anybody, but particularly from your team when you're working closely together, as much as they can learn from you. And when problems arise, it's really good to involve your team in solving problems, because they will have a different perspective on things than you have. I know where we had a challenge with our order book some time ago, I got the team together and asked them for their input. And I think this very webinar came from such a conversation. This is the 22nd one we've done. But I know the first one came from that kind of discussion about what we could do near the start of the pandemic. And the other thing is to make your team the heroes, recognize their contribution, the things that they do, know that without your team, you won't have a business. So it's really important to recognize your team. Some of these insights also came from studying Get Altitude by Evan Pagan. He identifies 5 aspects of developing your business. So the first one is you, or in this case, me. Second one is your market. Third is your marketing. The fourth is your team, and the fifth is your system. This particular webinar is concentrating on the team aspect. There will be other webinars, particularly on the system aspects, to come. So great learning opportunities. I think one of the first things that we did when Connie first joined us was a survey of local pubs for one of our clients who provided resources in the form of bar staff and also porters and cleaners in the hotel and restaurant context. So we did a little survey. So literally I sent Connie out and she went round all the pubs, not sampling the produce, I have to say, because if she had, she probably wouldn't have come back in a very good state, just to find out where the demand was. This was a challenge for her. She'd never done it before, but she certainly learned and grew from that. And also networking events. I know Connie went to networking events with me, and I think there were several plans for Rubin to do so as well, but I'm not entirely sure that ever happened, but there's still time, I suppose. And particularly client meetings. Every client meeting that we have, our team contribute, me and one of the team. So Connie and I used to do all the client meetings. Then when Connie left, Rubin and I have done all the client meetings, and in the future, Zach will do the client meetings. It's a great way to encourage, develop and grow. And initially, when we started, I allocated a specific role within the meeting so that Rubin or Connie or Zach in the future will know what they're doing. But over time, we built relationships with the client, and it turns into a collaboration, which is a much better way of getting results than having a traditional kind of client supplier relationship. So that was definitely that is definitely something that I highly recommend. Also, reverse engineer the altered state of success. I definitely, in my experience, know that success leaves traces. Some of those in the way that in the way that marketing produces results, but also in the way that team members grow and develop. And so I've kind of learned over the years to recognize what the steps are to personal development, so that I can encourage members of our team to grow and develop, and they can encourage me as well. I'm continuing growing all the time as well, particularly my capacity to tell jokes, which is one of my favorite pastimes. I've still not actually achieved the level of mastery that I would wish, but Ruben and Connie and Zach always laugh most of the time at the appropriate moment, so I must be doing reasonably okay. And the 1 minute manager is really useful, which is to use situational leadership to manage each member of the team in the way that works best for them. Most importantly of all is lead with values. If things are important to you, demonstrate them, act in that way. I have hopefully already mentioned some of the values that I lead with, and there's more to come. So that's the third step. So the next bit is encouragement. That's really, really important. There have been several instances where clients maybe don't believe in the team as much as I do, and so in that context, if clients are not respecting the way that we operate or the way that we work as a team, then we gently kind of nudge them in the direction. And at one point, we started sending out our process flowchart, just explaining what each member of the team is responsible for, so that clients gradually were weaned off the idea of that I did everything and they had to talk to me, and gradually started communicating with the whole team. If that didn't work, then sadly those clients were no longer clients, because the team is going to be with you for a long time. Clients come and go, but the team is the constant. So I always stand up for the team and make sure that. So yeah, you can see there the circle, which is my kind of diagram for a team. It's not based on a hierarchy or anything. It's based on a circle where we're all equal. And I firmly believe that communication is only possible among equals. So that's another one of my values that I hopefully demonstrate most of the time, and not all of the time, because I'm definitely not perfect, but most of the time. And also make sure that when you're leading a team, you don't abdicate responsibility. You're still responsible. I'm still responsible for Digital Freelance and the business. And so if problems arise, I'm always ready to step in and fix them. But if they don't arise, or I'll ask the team members of the team what their ideas are to solve them first before I step in. That's something that I've learned over a long period of time. Trial and error can also be the best way to learn. So no one knows everything, as I mentioned earlier. So I just encourage the team to learn from their mistakes, and they encourage me. I make mistakes as well, so they encourage me to learn from my mistakes as well. The most important thing to me is, I remember this when I worked at Ericsson. I was walking down I had a team meeting, and I said, it's all about having fun. And most of the people in the team looked at me as though I'd gone completely nuts. But then one day I was walking to my office and laughing away, as I often do, and someone popped their head over the dividers and said, "Oh, now I know what you mean by having fun." And I do genuinely believe that business should be fun. It's very rarely life or death. So yeah, don't take it too seriously. Have a laugh, and it's not laugh inappropriately, obviously, but make it fun, make it enjoyable. So that's the encourage your team bit. So now, here we go. So record what you learn in blogs, videos, and webinars is also really good. We've done that, as I was saying, 22 webinars where we shared the way that we do things. This is the first one that is more on the one so far have been more on the harder skills. This one is more on the softer skills. But clients love to see behind the scenes footage so they can understand how you do things and how you think and how you create stuff. And also teaching others embeds the learning lessons. So I've observed Ruben growing over the last few weeks as he's been training Zach in what he does, so that Zach can do the job. It'll be in a different way, I'm sure, but as in his own way, do what Ruben has been doing for the last 4 years. So, having put all these things together, you can design the processes to deliver the results you deliver to your clients. I talked earlier about system. This will be the subject of the next webinar, which will be the systems that we use. The point that I want to make here is it's important to involve your team in the design process. All of our processes that we use have evolved over time and were designed by a combination of myself, Connie, and Ruben. I talked about that a little bit in the last webinar, or the last but one, I think it was. The recordings of these videos are not public, but we do send them out to our email list, but they're not made public. So if you would like to have copies of any other of the videos, please just say copies of the videos and we'll send you the links. I think this will be the 8th one, so that we can so that you can kind of see our journey and how we've evolved and grown over time, and hopefully we can help to mentor you through our videos. How's that? I'm gonna finish with a question. Are you ready to build an empowered, engaged, and enthusiastic team? I hope you are. I seriously hope you are. I love this is one of my favorite things. I absolutely love it. So yeah, hopefully you'll find this valuable and you'll take up the challenge. So if you want to share experiences, we've put a link here, and Ruben will put it in the chat box as well. This is just, we're not trying to sell anything. We're happy to have a chat, and it's not, in fact, this is not a thing that we sell, but I'm happy to have a chat. We can share experiences. If you know, I can probably learn some stuff from you, you can learn some stuff from me, hopefully, and see how we might be able to collaborate together in the future. So that's the digital freelance. But in addition to that, I should mention, in the interest of transparency, that I'm also Chief Marketing Officer for a startup that I've been mentoring called BeFound. Was formed by Zach and Irina, and I'm now a minority shareholder in that as well, in the interest of full disclosure. That is a platform for introducing mentors to mentees. It's a commercial platform, so this is more the commercial business side of mentoring. If you want to check it out, there's the link, and the strapline is, I believe, introducing mentors to mentees or something of that nature. So yeah, if you want to have a chat, I'd love to have a chat. I love chatting, as you can probably tell. And if you're interested in becoming a mentor, then there's the link. So that was the presentation. I promised it would be half an hour, and I think that was pretty close to half an hour. So we're going to open the we can either open the mic for questions, or you can put your question in the chat box, whichever you prefer. Meanwhile, while you're doing that, I'm going to have a quick drink. My throat's a bit dry. So it seems like we don't have any questions.
No, none yet.
We'll just give it a couple more minutes, and then if there are no questions, then we will close the session. And I hope to have a follow-up chat with some of you, if not all of you. And I hope to get Ruben's Instagram updates on the delights of Vietnam.
Oh yeah, you'll definitely get those.
Brilliant. So are there any questions? BeFound Mentor says, "Hi Graham, great webinar. I love what you said about recognizing greatness in your team." And they ask, how can we look out for hidden talents in our team? That's a great question. Hi Zach and Irina, thanks for joining us. It's great to have you here. I think the best way to find hidden talents is twofold. First of all, to observe. So become a really keen observer of what your team are doing, and secondly, to empower them to be themselves. So many people put on a mask when they go to business. Some people have a little thin mask, some people have a very thick mask. And I know when I was in the corporate world, and I remember someone saying to me, "Oh, you also DJ in your spare time, don't you?" And I went, "Oh, no, I don't like to talk about that," as though that wasn't appropriate kind of for a business environment. I think the world has changed radically, and I think now you can bring your whole self, a bit like doing the hokey cokey. You can bring your whole self to work, and so I would say encouraging people to bring their whole self to work and observing what they're good at are two of the things that I would recommend. So I hope that answers the question.
Cool. It doesn't look like we've got any more coming.
Okay, brilliant. So thank you all for joining us. I really appreciate it. And hope to... Do we have a question? Or?
Oh, no, they were just saying that thanks for the answer.
All right, brilliant. Awesome. Okay, great. So thank you very much for joining us. And hope to have a chat or see you on the next webinar. So unless there's any more questions, I'm going to say take care and see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.